I've wanted to show you all my anthuriums for the longest time, but every time I go to film this video, I just think how long it's going to take because, as you know, most of my plants are indeed anthuriums. However, I have made a video showing you every philodendron I have, and it feels a little bit misleading not to show you all the plants from my favorite genus. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to show you every anthurium that is growing in my apartment. Let me give you a sense of the growing environment in here. Pretty much all the anthuriums except for 3 are just growing in open air conditions, ambient conditions. What does that mean? It means they're just growing in my living room or the bedroom with no added humidity. I did get a humidifier towards the end of winter, but I almost never remember to turn it on, number 1. Number 2, this apartment is open plan, so even the best humidifier in the world at certain times of the year is going to struggle to raise the levels of humidity in here. It's just pretty much almost impossible. And so during the worst of winter, humidity in here tends to get as low as, I would say, 15% relative humidity, which that's just know that that's very, very low. It's so low that my lips are cracked and everything hurts. So not ideal for these plants. They don't like that. They would prefer higher humidity. However, anthuriums are very adaptable and they do for the most part get over it, especially if you supplement by watering them a bit more. I have 2 plants in my grow tent that are recovering and 1 that I can't seem to be able to acclimate, but it's just a difficult plant anyway, and it may not make it in the jungle in the long run because I prefer to be able to see all the plants. When it came to making this video, I thought about waiting until the plants look better because the end of winter is actually not the ideal time. Everybody looks a lot worse for the wear. They're looking pretty rough. But I think it's important that you get an accurate picture of what it's like growing these plants in these conditions. They're beautiful, but if a leaf gets damaged, you're going to live with it for a long time because there can be quite a long time between leaves. I don't want to be someone who only shows the plants when they're at their best or their most beautiful because I don't think that's real, you know? I think it's better for you to see what they're like, warts and all. So you're going to see them today and they're going to be in rough condition, but I will show them to you again at the end of the growing season. So in like September-ish, October, maybe end of September / beginning of October, when they've had a whole season of beautiful growing and they should be doing really well, knock on wood. I'll show them to you again then so you have something to compare to, right? Without further ado, this is every single anthurium that lives in Monef's jungle. I mentioned that I have 3 plants living in my grow tent, and they're in there. Anything that's in there is in there because it hasn't been doing so well. So I think I'll start with those plants. I'll pull those ones out to show you quickly so you can see what's going on in there, why they went into the grow tent and how they're doing today. So I'm going to start there. Number 1. Now this is probably a weird one to show you because it's not really, let's just say is, because I have faith that one day she will be back. This is an Anthurium nigrolaminum GG crossed with Anthurium warocqueanum. It was part of 3 warocqueanum hybrids that I bought a while ago, and this one has just never been happy in here. I don't know why. I put all 3 of them out in open air in my apartment when they arrived. I didn't put them in the grow tent because I bought them because I want to have these long, beautiful leaves out here. And this one has just always been annoyed about something. I chopped off the leaf that it had and stuck it in this bag of tree fern fiber in the grow tent. And these are the roots. I might have to rethink my strategy in here and just get this stump closer to the tree fern. I think I'll have to realign things in here and maybe put it a bit flatter than it is, or maybe put it in a container instead of a bag. I don't know. I have some reconfiguring to do, but I'm hoping this makes it because I think it'll be quite interesting. And you can never, in my opinion, have too many warocqueanum hybrids. Next to that one in the grow tent is this. Now this plant, I'll put up a picture of what this plant used to look like. You might recognize her if you've been a long time follower of this channel. This is an Anthurium regale crossed with luxurians, and this plant was huge and beautiful and honestly my pride and joy. And then last summer it really suffered badly when I went away and it wasn't cared for. It almost expired, but I have successfully brought it back using the bag method that I'm using with that other one. And so it first grew this leaf. Actually, it grew this leaf in water, and then I put it into the bag and it did well. And it grew this one and then this one. And I've since potted it up, and this is the newest leaf. It just put this out a couple of days ago, so it's working on this. This is going to get much bigger, and it has some pretty decent looking roots in here, so I do think it's doing well. I've left it in the grow tent still because I wanted to get stronger. I wanted to bounce back. Once this leaf fully expands and it's its full size, I will pull this out of the grow tent and just put it here in the living room. First of all, this plant is just too big to fit into a grow tent long term, and I know that. Secondly, I don't want it to be too used to tent conditions. I want it to live out here in the ambient open air, and we're finally at the time of the year where the humidity is starting to rise. So this is actually the perfect time of the year to transition these plants from the grow tent out into my open apartment, and it should do really, really well. So that's this guy. The next time you see it, it will be living in open air in this apartment just as soon as I make space for it. This next plant, also in the tent, is the second of those Anthurium warocqueanum hybrids that I bought and just threw out here in open air in the dead of winter. They did not like that, but unlike the other one, this one is now bouncing back. I potted it up into soil and put it in the grow tent, and it immediately gave me this leaf. Now, this is an Anthurium warocqueanum crossed with waterberryanum, and if you know anything about this plant, you know this is a really, really small leaf by this plant's standards. So you can tell that it's still trying to recover from previous damage. In spite of this beautiful leaf, I haven't brought it back out of the tent yet because I can't see the roots on the side of the pot yet. I'm sure they're growing, otherwise it wouldn't, I think, be doing this, but I can't see them yet, so it's too soon to bring it out. Basically, once the roots hit the side of the pot and I can see them, I feel comfortable knowing that the plant is well adjusted and has a strong enough root system to be out here. So I think this will go back into the tent for, I don't know, I'm going to give it a couple more weeks. If it puts out either another leaf or I see the roots on the side, then I'll know it's ready to come out. But in the meantime, I'm just enjoying this leaf because it was touch and go there for a minute. Now, the last plant in my grow tent is my Anthurium waterberryanum. I'm not going to pull it out because, first of all, it looks horrific, and I do mean horrific. Simply isn't worth showing in its current condition. I will insert a little bit of footage of what it's looking like in the tent. I'll put that right here. See, this is what it looks like in the tent right now. It's not pretty. It's working on another leaf right now. I have been trying to rehabilitate this plant for quite some time with sort of very mixed success. It's just a really, really fussy plant. So I will keep trying, but I will say it's entering rehoming territory if things don't look up soon because it's just not suited to open air growing. And I could put it in a self-watering pot or use, lechuza pond or whatever, but I've found that for anthuriums, especially with the size that they get, it's just not a long-term solution. So it's not going to work in the long run, and I'd rather not try something that isn't going to be sustainable down the line. So I don't know what to do with that plant, but I'll have to think about it some more. I don't know. Those are all the plants that are in the grow tent, and hopefully by the next time we do this video, there will be 0 plants in the grow tent, and I will have collapsed that tent and just put it under my bed, just shoved it away somewhere, because to me, I want to keep the tent just for, you know, if I have seedlings, if I pollinate and I need to grow the seedlings, or if I'm rehabilitating if I'm rehabilitating a sick plant. But honestly, even with seedlings, I've grown anthuriums from seed without even using the tent, so I just don't think it's necessary if I'm not importing loads at the moment. And I haven't imported a plant in, I don't know, over a year. Might have been almost 2 years since my last round of imports. So unless I go back to importing in any substantial quantity, which I don't see myself doing. If I do import plants again, I'll just pull the tent out and rehabilitate them in there, you know. So that's the grow tent. Moving on. Next, I'm going to bring out all the anthuriums that live in my bedroom. Now, the conditions in my bedroom are actually perfect for growing anthuriums because it's a bit cooler in there than the living room, and you know, anthuriums like that. They like warmth, but not as extreme as the living room gets really, really hot in the summer. But the bedroom has quite poor light compared to the living room, so it's kind of a sort of chicken and egg situation. The first of the bedroom anthuriums this is Anthurium veitchii. Let's talk care. How do I look after Anthurium veitchii? It's potted up, like all my anthuriums, in a mix that is half Molly's aroid mix and half tree fern fiber. Every single anthurium in this apartment is in 50% or more tree fern fiber. Some of them are growing in 100% tree fern. Just depends on the size of the plant. The smaller they are, the more tree fern I use, and then as they get older, I kind of, I cut that until it's about 50-50. But I really, really love Molly's aroid mix because it has, I think, all those other little amendments that I would typically have bought independently. But I live in an apartment and I really don't have space to be storing like bags of charcoal and vermiculite. And also, I think it's just not practical, really, for me to be buying all these bags of different things financially. It just doesn't make sense. So I prefer to buy Molly's, and then I just mix that with the tree fern fiber, and here we go. So this guy has had a repot probably not that long ago. So it's basically still working on filling the pot with roots, which is fine with me. This is the most recent full leaf. It's a pretty good size. At the moment, it's got an inflorescence. It's working on an inflorescence and a new leaf all at the same time. The light it prefers is extremely bright, lots of bright light and direct sunlight. So it is in the bedroom. It's right up against the south window, and it's very happy there. It grows, I think, at a much better rate when it has proper light. When I had it in lower lighting conditions, it simply didn't do much. I try to fertilize it every time I water it. I'm not gonna lie, I forget. I forget more than I should, but in an ideal world, I would lightly fertilize it every time. That's my preferred fertilization method. And for fertilizer, I am currently using Dynagrow Foliage Pro. And sometimes I add a little extra CalMag, but I don't know if that's necessary or not. But Dynagrow for sure. I haven't had any pest problems with it, knock on wood. And this might just about be the most easygoing anthurium out there. It will grow itself. It's very, very resilient. Really good choice for a first-time anthurium owner if you're not too hung up on having those velvet leaves. I recommend this one. Next up is this guy. This is an Anthurium Zara X Michelle, a dock block hybrid. I actually grew this one from seed. I got the seeds, was it 3 years ago now? I got the seeds at a time when they were impossible to come by, and a really, really kind person in the plant community gave them to me, but it was a mission getting them back then. I have two. This is one of two, and this was the smaller one. I don't know if it's still, I should check. But this one sits in the bedroom next to the Anthurium veitchii, so a little bit further back from that window. It's got all these crispy edges post-winter. I just haven't really kept up with the watering, to be honest. This is not a difficult plant, so this is definitely a case of user error. It's my fault. This is the most recent full leaf on this guy. And it's currently working on a new one, which I think it's a leaf. I'm not sure if that's a leaf or an inflorescent. No, it's a leaf. It's working on a new leaf, so I'm quite excited to see what that looks like and if it's going to size up. I think we're definitely due for a jump in size. I did set it back by repotting it into this big one, but the thing with these is I've found it's better to get them into a big pot and be done with it and just leave it alone, rather than continuing to repot, because every time you do that, the leaves just, the size, it sets it back. So I've potted it into this big guy. I don't foresee potting it up more than that for quite some time. Still working on its roots anyway. There's lots of room in here. So yeah, this is Zara X Michelle. The care for this is, I think, nothing special. It does not need super high humidity. If cared for properly, these get really big, I think because it's a hybrid, but the leaves get pretty chunky. And what I like about this is that the color of the leaves is a bit more purpley than the rest of my velvety anthuriums. So hopefully the next leaf should be impressive. The next batch of anthuriums is from this one corner in my bedroom, and every anthurium there is kind of janky and needs work. So I think everything there needs a repot and maybe just a chop and just a fresh start. This is one of them. This is my Anthurium Bessii af, and yeah, she looks terrible. This is what she used to look like, right? She used to just be the star of the show, and now she just looks horrific. And I don't know, I'm not 100% sure what the issue is, to be honest. She's definitely in a high traffic location, and I do need to top up the potting media, but I'm leaning towards just chopping all the leaves off and letting her start over. I may even just move her away from where she's located. Like, it just might not be the spot for her. There might be too much traffic there, and I might bring her into the living room, to be honest. I think she'd possibly have a better time of it. I think she's going to be getting the chop really soon, so hopefully the next time you see Miss Bessii af, she will look better than this. I don't even want to tell you how to care for this plant because I'm not going to lie, I don't know that I have it figured out myself. I mean, look at the state of it. She's a mess. Next from that corner is this one. This is Anthurium magnificum crossed with Frigetii. Now, like the Bessii, this one is all messed up. This is actually an underwatering issue, and if I had higher humidity, I could get away with it more. It wouldn't have all these holes because it would get the water it needed from the atmosphere, but it's low humidity in here, so you really have to be on top of your watering, especially if you're not using self-watering, and I was not, so here she is. But funny enough, you can look at it and see as I'm getting better and better at actually watering it, you see the leaves slowly improving. So this is the latest leaf. It looks better. What's happening is I'm just not catching it in time before it has these holes already formed, which is really annoying. The other thing is it definitely needs a pot extender, or it needed a pot extender a while ago and I didn't do that, and it needs a new pot. So here's the roots. The roots look really good. Nice, green and healthy. I will be transitioning it to a new pot shortly, which probably should help actually with all this, because then it should have more moisture to draw from. I will be doing that soon, and hopefully the next time we check this guy out, it will look better. This is just pretty standard way I care for all my anthuriums. This might have more tree fern than potting soil, and tree fern does dry out more quickly, so you have to water it properly. I have not been doing that. My bad. So I will hopefully rectify that, and it will improve. I promise, when watered properly, this is actually truly a spectacular plant. So I'm going to be making a real effort to get on top of it and sort this issue out so that we can see what she's supposed to look like, because it has this, it's really, the leaves are this deep green. This one isn't done hardening off yet, so this isn't the true color yet. But then it has this sort of tiny pink around the edges that actually is really quite spectacular when it's being cared for properly. So I have to fix this. This is one of 4 Magnificum ex Forgetii that I have, and every single one of them looks horrible. And it's not because it's a difficult plant. I think it's just very thirsty, which makes sense. Magnificum is thirsty, Forgetii is thirsty. This is the last one of the bunch that live in my bedroom in the same corner. This, the Besseii Af, the Magnificum ex Forgetii, and this one, they all sort of live in a corner clustered together. They are under a Soltex Solutions Vita grow light. So that's all the light they get because they're sort of further back into the room. And they do well there. The light, it might even be a little bit strong. For these guys, to be honest, I might be better off either lifting it or going with something more adjustable. It can be difficult because there are plants there that just have different light needs, and just trying to figure it out is a little bit tricky. But I think the real problem in that corner is my poor watering habits, really, and not repotting on time. Anyway, this one looks all right, right? This one looks all right because I actually just cut off all the horrible leaves, and that's something that I think I'm going to be a lot better about doing. Just letting the Anthurium leaves that don't look good go and just cut them off instead of keeping them, which has kind of been my way. So I cut off most of the bad leaves on this one. This isn't the best, but it's not the worst. This is the latest leaf. It looks, actually this one looks pretty good, and it's working on a new leaf right now, but it needs a chop because here's the stem. And the potting situation is also ridiculous. It needs a new pot and a big chop. When I chop it, I guess it's a question of whether I keep the new plants or not, because this is actually quite an obnoxiously big plant for living indoors. But this does not require any different care from, like, I don't know, a philodendron or something. It's quite a resilient plant. You just water it when it's dry. And I would say medium light is good. The only negative about this thing is that it's very spindly. Like, the leaves are just all over the place. It's kind of annoying. Oh, I never told you its name. Anthurium longistrosum. Up next, this is a strap leaf Anthurium. It's Anthurium Seronii. It's one of the shorter ones, so the leaves are strappy, but they're very short. But there's just something about this plant that I just find to be so unusual and cool looking. I've had it for quite a while actually, but it's now starting to really kind of come into its own. I did recently give it a new pot, and it seems to be loving all the extra room it has to grow. It's put out these little pups now, so I think before you know it, it will be like a bigger plant, you know, with the leaves. The leaves are pretty thick and sturdy. It must store quite a bit of water in them because it does get dry very quickly, so I am having to water this actually quite frequently. This one probably would do very well in self-watering, but that's not really my favorite thing to do, so I don't do that. This is a perfect candidate for living on a shelf in an apartment because it doesn't take up any kind of space. Very small. So this is a really good one. I'm actually thinking I might chop this soon and have multiples, or at least separate it, because I think this is actually the perfect thing to use to fill out a plant shelf, just because you're not worrying about space. there's a thought. For its potting medium, this has now moved into 50% aroid mix and 50% tree fern fiber, and it's loving it. And then next is another strap leaf Anthurium. I bought this as Anthurium wendlingeri. It is too small to have any defining characteristics that tell me that it's definitely no, I think it is a wendlingeri. But as you can see, it's still tiny. Now, it's actually my fault because after I bought it, I did not pot it up. I just left it in the tiny sort of pot it came in for ages. And wendlingeri is a really easygoing plant, so it didn't protest. It did not, it didn't expire or suffer, but the leaves did not get longer like they should because it didn't have anything to work with. In fact, this one got smaller. So I recently repotted it. I've also changed the grow light up there to a Barina light, so there's more light up there now, and it's very happy for it because a new leaf is on the way. I don't know if it's going to start sizing up yet or not. It looks like it's still working on its roots and stuff, but I think this should be happy now. I will say that this so far to me has been the easiest strap leaf Anthurium out there. It's just it's a super easygoing plant actually, and I'm really excited for it to get those big long beautiful leaves and the corkscrew inflorescence that it's famous for. That's actually why I got it. I can't wait to see what it looks like when it matures. But for now, it's still a little baby and doesn't look like much of anything really. It looks quite similar to like a Vitarifolium, but it's not. I have one, so I know the difference. Next to that is this, and this is another Anthurium magnificum crossed with Forgetii. I told you they all look horrible. This one was on the top shelf with almost no light. As you can see, the leaves are all small and horrible and just very, very underwatered. I have since changed the light up there, but I think it probably still needs some overhead, like some spotlights or something. But what it has is better than nothing. I've improved the watering and it needs some potting media on top here. It's desperate for some more substrate, so I need to take care of that soon. This is the latest leaf. It's just about hardened off. As you can see, it is a really pretty color, and I just think with more light this plant could be such a beauty. It's actually working on yet another leaf. So it's a prolific grower, it just doesn't have the conditions that it needs to be great. So I have to give that some thought and see what I can do about that. But for now, Anthurium magnificum crossed with Forgetii. I'd tell you what the care is, but as you can see, they all look horrible. So I don't think I should really tell you this is what you should do, because I probably still have some figuring out to do myself. Right under that is this poor little one leaf Anthurium podophyllum. This, I got this from Equagenera USA. I think it was like an add-on to something I bought, just like I think I chucked it in there for like $5 or something, just to get to the free shipping or whatever. And I just left it on the shelf and didn't deal with it. And it's just been sat in whatever it came in, getting watered in place and neglected routine, at alternating intervals for the longest time. Anyway, I went to pull it out today. I was like, let me repot it finally. And I found out that there was dry rot. It was a mess. It actually basically almost had stem rot. So we're down to this one leaf, and honestly, I'm not 100% sure if she's gonna survive. I put it in pure tree fern fiber to see if it will bounce back. I probably should put it into my grow tent really, just to give it a real fighting chance so it can root properly. That added humidity is probably what it needs to bounce back, so I'll probably put it into my grow tent. This is my Anthurium velenaorum. Now this velenaorum is a plant that I I did neglect it for a while, but I have finally done the right thing and repotted it, and it's really happy in this pot and the potting mix. This is my signature, you know, my usual Molly's aroid mix and tree fern. This is probably more Molly's than tree fern because it was growing in just tree fern, so there's plenty in there already. It wasn't that long ago since I potted it up, but it's putting out a new leaf. You probably can't see. It's putting out a new leaf. This is not the fastest grower, but this is actually very, very resilient plant. Another really good choice actually if you're new to anthuriums. It doesn't seem to be very popular. I don't know why, because I think this is a good one. And then next to them is this. This is my Anthurium forgetii, and this plant is one of the most this is probably one of the most ridiculous plants in this apartment. This was one of the first plants that I ever imported. I imported it from Ecuagenera, either December 21 or January 22. And looking at the size of it, you know, I know what you're thinking, right? This plant has kicked the bucket and come back. I've lost count of how many times really. It's gone back to nothing and then bounced back quite a few times. This latest iteration I think is extremely resilient and I think will be fine. It ended up splitting into two, so there are now two plants in here, which is what happens sometimes when you regrow from a stump. This is the latest leaf on this one, and on this one, like, this is underwatering from me, which is a terrible thing to do when a plant is essentially back to being a seedling and trying to bounce back, so I need to do better by this one. But this is one that I think by the end of summer will be impressive. I've just given it better lighting and it seems to really be happy with that. So I'm looking forward to seeing what it's going to look like, because I think it is finally stable and we're past the stage of going back to a stump. I think now it's completely acclimated to this environment. The thing with forgetii is they are very difficult to acclimate to new environments. They just get mad about it and throw fits, and probably more so than a lot of other anthuriums, to be honest. So they will show signs of stress, but you know, if you stay the course, eventually it adjusts, and then the leaves that grows in the new environment are quite strong and it does well. So I think that's what's happened with this one, but I think it's ready now. It should be good. Okay, next is this guy. This is an Anthurium vitarifolium. Everybody says this is the easiest strap leaf anthurium out there, but I really, really do not like this plant. I don't know why. Maybe I just got a bad specimen, but I don't even know how long I've had it, to be honest. Nor do I remember where I actually got it. Weird. I've had it for quite a while. I just don't like it. It grows, I don't know. Maybe it's because I have so many strap leaf anthuriums, so my standards for that are quite high. I just don't care for this one. It's so basic. Like, what do I need this for? Honestly, if it doesn't improve, I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it. I just don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like the way it grows. I feel like the leaves are very boring. I'm not really taking the best care of it, but there's nothing motivating me to like be extra nice to it. I just think it's really blah. Next up is this guy. This is Anthurium longissimilobum. Now I know it looks crazy because I'm basically growing what should be a climbing plant in a tiny pot and on a shelf and letting it crawl, which is silly. It really needs a moss pole, and yeah, it looks nuts. I'll probably put it on a pole soon and move it. I might move it out here to the living room. It's probably better suited to growing out here. This is the newest leaf. It's actually a really beautiful plant when it's cared for by someone who isn't treating it like garbage. It's going to be gorgeous. It just needs a little bit more love and it needs a better spot. A shelf is not appropriate for this one, so I will be sorting this out. Check back at the end of summer to see what my longissima lobum looks like, because I guarantee it's gonna be a showstopper. It's supposed to have these long, beautiful leaves, and for a while there, it was touted as the Anthurium version of a Spiritus Sancti. So let's see if I can make it look beautiful by the end of summer, and maybe compare it side by side to my Spiritus Sancti and see what they look like. Next up is another Forgetii. I think this is the second Forgetii I bought. It's like the other Forgetii, they both are Anthurium Forgetii white stripes. This was also an import from Ecuagenera and has also struggled to acclimate, but I think this one is, even though it looks crazy, I'm telling you, I think this one is actually adjusted to my space now, surprisingly. So this leaf is horrible, I should cut it. This leaf is becoming horrible, I should also cut it. I'm reluctant to, because it's working on a new leaf right now, which is not going to be perfect because winter, but it will definitely be better than these ones. And once this leaf is fully out, I will cut these two, because then I think, I don't know, I like the plant to have one of these for insurance in case I underwater it. It has an old janky leaf to pull that water from. So this is my janky Forgetii, but I love this plant even though it looks crazy. So Anthurium Forgetii does need pretty decent watering. If you can water it consistently, it should do quite well. For these guys, I tend to just water on a schedule. That's what works best for me. Little and often, and I add fertilizer every time I water it. So I'm probably watering it, I should be watering it like twice a week, but sometimes I forget. And then next up is this. This is one of my Anthurium King of Spades plants. This one is actually currently under light that's a little bit too bright. So I'm trying to figure out what I can do to resolve that situation, just so that it has room to kind of give me darker leaves like this, like it used to, because these are a little bit bleached, just a little bit. See, it's actually now quite an older plant, or very, very well established. Probably could do with a bigger pot, a much bigger pot. This is the root system, very dry. It's just kind of difficult really, because where does it end? You know, it's not realistic for me to just keep upsizing the pot, so I probably do have to chop it. It's just, I don't want to. I love it. I guess because it's kind of a super hybrid, it's just really, really resilient and tough as nails. So it's a pretty good one if you can get your hands on it. It can be pricey, so that's annoying, but it's not at all hard to care for. If I get some Warocqueanum pollen, that would be a cool cross to try sometime, actually. I'm gonna think about it. Also have a series of Anthuriums growing on the top shelf in my bedroom. There's this one. This is Anthurium Velvet Moira. It's a cross, I don't know what the cross is. I think it has some Papillilaninum in there, but I don't know what that's crossed with. If anyone knows what Velvet Moira actually is, can you feel free to share in the comments? I haven't got a clue. This is another one that until recently had very poor light. I think I've fixed the lighting situation now, but it's on the top shelf in my room and actually may need to come down. I think it's probably too big of a plant to be living up there, but for now it's there, it's doing okay. This is actually starting to become insanely gorgeous. Like, this is Anthurium Black Beauty, and for a long time I thought it was something else, because I think I had mixed up, I think when I got it, it struggled, and then it sort of, you know, it went back down to a stump, and I was repropagating it with, and there was something else in the pot, so I hadn't realized that this was the Black Beauty, but it is. This is Anthurium Black Beauty, which is a hybrid developed by Barry Schwartz, but I don't know what the hybrid is of. I really should look these things up better. Anyway, this is it. It lives on the top shelf in my bedroom and is actually starting to get a little bit of size. So I should probably rethink the location, because I think this is a plant that's going to be too big for that spot in the long run, and probably also too beautiful to hide from the world. So I'll have to think about what I'm doing with this one, but it's really pretty. Look at it. It's just like the most divine color. This leaf is still soft as well. It's got two growth points now. It's split into two, so yeah, they're both still growing. It's very pretty. Well, how am I caring for this? By trying to remember to water it enough. Because this has been down to a stump and grown back, in my conditions, it's actually very, very drought tolerant now. I guess because the humidity is so low in here, but I'm trying to be better about watering it. It's got this deep, deep, deep coloring that is actually really special to look at compared to so many of the other Anthuriums in here. It's very cool. Next to them on the shelf is this one, which again, I'm trying to figure out a solution for. I don't know. This was sold to me as Forgetii across the Pallidiflorum. That doesn't seem possible, right? I don't know if anybody else has such a cross, let me know. But it was sold as Forgetii across the Pallidiflorum. I bought it because if it has Forgetii in it, I'm probably buying it. And as you can see from the shape, there's no doubt about the Forgetii. I just don't know that it's possible for the other parent to be Pallidiflorum. And I don't see any traits or characteristics that will help me decide one way or the other. So I don't know. It does not look or feel like any of my other Forgetii hybrids though. So maybe it is. Maybe it's Forgetii across the Pallidiflorum. I don't know. Anyway, it's very pretty, but it needs more water than I'm giving it. Like, it just dries out like mad. So I'm still trying to decide what my approach is going to be with it beyond doing a better job of keeping it watered. I think it will fare better now that the weather is changing. It shouldn't crisp up as easily. I don't know. We'll see. Now here's a strap leaf that I do actually like. Anthurium Friedrichstahli. This is probably such a, I love this strap leaf Anthurium. This might be why I don't like the Vitarifolium, because I just feel like if I have this one, what do I need that one for? Like, this one gives similar vibes because the leaves are thin, but I like it better. I just like the texture of them better. They're more leathery and just dark green and truly beautiful and very, 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 very easygoing and hardy, and I don't know, I just love this plant. The care of this plant, it needs, like most strap leaves, probably does need a decent amount of water. It seems so far to be shorter than, say, my Pallidiflorum or Wendlingeri. I'm not sure how long the leaves are supposed to get. Maybe not that long. Maybe that's the difference between this and Vitarifolium, but it's a pretty good shelf plant because of that. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. No, it grew a pup, and so now there's two of them. So it looks bushier, but actually it's because there are two plants in here. Here's another Forgetii magnificum. I'm not even going to waste time on this one. I don't know what, this one is actually worse than all the others. I do not know what is wrong with this plant. It's always yellowing. Is it nutrient deficient? I don't know. I'm sure it's underwatered, but that's beside the point. I don't know what's wrong with this plant. I cannot stand it. I'm not sure how long I'll keep it. I'm thinking about just chopping it up. Since I have 3 others, it just might not be worth keeping as is. I might just chop it up, propagate them all, and try again. I'm thinking about it, so we'll see. But it's got a new leaf coming in. I think this new leaf is going to be its last chance. If the new leaf looks nice and doesn't turn all weird and yellow like these, I'll keep it. But if it's also just yucky, then I think I'm just going to chop it up and try again. This is the last of the plants on the shelves in my bedroom, and this is my third Anthurium forgetii. This one is for a dark form of forgetii, and as you can see, the lines are a lot darker. It doesn't have that white stripe that the others have. Now, again, it's obvious that the lighting situation on that shelf is not optimal, because you see this poor thing is reaching desperately, trying to get some light. So I'm trying to resolve that and just get better lighting in there so that it can hopefully be a little bit happier. But other than that, I think it is doing a bit better than the others in terms of the watering situation. So I think if I had good light for it, it would be actually quite a really beautiful plant, because the leaves seem to be holding up really well. So I really like this one, actually. Maybe I should reconsider where I put it in the bedroom. Maybe I should find a new spot where it can actually really thrive. But I think it's gorgeous. Now, this plant is one of my favorites. I adore this plant. This is actually the reverse cross of all those Magnificum forgetii you were seeing. This is Anthurium forgetii crossed with Magnificum. I'm obsessed with this plant. It used to be a lot darker, like all the leaves used to look like this, but then I changed its position. I moved it down to the bookshelf where there was more space for it, but that grow light there is just too powerful, so it's bleaching. Unfortunately, it's bleaching this leaf a little bit, which is making me really sad. So I need to just adjust the light so that it doesn't get too much light. But this plant is so gorgeous. It actually was really, really dark in its old spot. So when I repot it, which I'll be doing shortly, I might reconsider where I'm growing it. I don't know, but because I want it to be dark and juicy and beautiful, you know. I don't want it to be all bleached and yellow and stuff. I'm not really happy with that at all, so I have to figure that part out. But this leaf should give you an idea of what it should look like. It's really pretty. This is the last of the bedroom Anthurium. Is this my top Anthurium ever? I don't know, but it's up there. This is my Anthurium pallidiflorum. This again was also in the first batch of plants I ever imported from Ecuador, and it was so tiny back then, and it's just grown and grown. Such a beauty. Unfortunately, it's in a very high traffic area, so it gets subject to lots of abuse from the kids, poor thing. And so it has stuff like this. And where's the leaf? And this. So it's barely hanging in there. And I need to find a new location, I think, for it. Just maybe hang it from the ceiling or something, just so it has the space that it needs. I've been reluctant to hang it so far because these actually get quite heavy, and because it needs a lot of water. You know, it has these massive leaves, so it's moving tons of water all the time. And so I've just been concerned about whether it will hold the weight. But I think I'm gonna have it hung from the ceiling just to give the leaves room to do their thing. Very easy care also. However, I will say, of the strapleaf anthuriums, I feel like this one is the one that needs the most, from what I've seen. This one needs way more water than some of the others. And I think it's because the leaves are like softer. They're more velvety. They're shiny and velvety, and they're wider. So it's moving a ton of water down these massive leaves. Almost like similar to a queen anthurium in terms of the amounts of water it's taking in. So it does need a lot of water. The leaves will not show loads of damage when it's not getting that water, but it just will not grow properly. So you have to like be on top of the watering if you want it to grow and you want those nice long leaves. And by the same token, it needs good feed. It needs a lot of food, a lot of fertilizer to do its thing. So yeah. Okay, and now The next Anthurium on this list lives here in the living room. I'm showing all the living room ones now. And this is Anthurium radicans X luxurians. This might be one of the Anthuriums I've had the longest, actually. I just randomly bought it, and this is a super duper easy one, of course. It has, I need to chop off these inflorescences it has going on because they're sterile, no point keeping them. One thing about this one is it just has a bit of a shrubbier growing habit, which I guess is the radicans part of its genealogy. So it ends up having quite a wide wingspan. As it gets really big, you need to make sure you have space for it because it grows more out than up, at least compared to my other Anthuriums. Very bushy. It has, similar to Lux, of course, it has this texture, but it's not as, I think I prefer Luxurians for sure. The leaf shape is, this has like a longer leaf shape. I mean, it's cool, it's nice, but it's not, you know, it's okay, it's okay. So yeah, this is Anthurium radicans crossed with Luxurians, and like just about every other Anthurium in here, I grew it from a tiny little baby, but this one is very easy to grow. It just does its thing. Next to that is this guy. This is a bit of a weird plant. This is a hybrid. It's a hybrid of Anthurium forgetii and Anthurium clarinervium. So it's a very weird cross. It's got the cardboard texture of a clarinervium, but you know, the forgetii shape. And you know me, anything forgetii, sign me up. So this is the newest leaf. These struggle to come out nicely because they are it is very water intensive, but it just, I don't know, what's happening here? So got a bit of a crispy bit down at the bottom. You really have to be on top of your watering game to get pristine leaves with this one. And you know me, I don't quite have it right, but I think I'm doing the best I can because I water it all the time and it still doesn't come out perfect. So I don't know, I think it might just be a humidity thing, in which case, too bad, so sad. Sorry, I had to put that down, so heavy. The next one on my list is this. My second Anthurium King of Spades. And look at the difference, right? This one still has its nice dark color, so beautiful, beautiful leaf. Even though the other one is bigger, you can see that the other one is so bleached and this one isn't. This one, I think, is almost perfect. It actually, I just noticed, has a new leaf coming in right here. So who knows what this is gonna look like, but it's just doing its thing, sitting happily in the corner of my living room. And yeah, look at this. It's an absolute beauty, right? So yeah, King of Spades is one of my favorites. Now that I have this one, I wonder if I need the other one. You should always have doubles just in case. The plant shop where I got this one and the other one has since gone out of business. I don't even remember what it was called. It's been so long since I got it, but I got both of them from the same shop, and yeah, that shop is no longer, unfortunately. This is super easy, like I said, same as the other one, because it's a super duper hybrid. It's actually quite a resilient and tough plant. It's just that it's very difficult to find, to buy, but once you have it, it's very, very lovely, easy care. This is, I think, the first inflorescence that this one has put out, so I'm not going to do anything with it. Maybe, I usually like to wait for like 2 or 3. Maybe by the third inflow, I'll consider putting a hybrid together. Now this is one of 2 Anthurium luxurians plants I have here in the living room. And this one is a pain. I've struggled with this one endlessly for whatever reason, I don't know. I have propagated it. I've had to chop it back and propagate it multiple times. But the last time I stuck it in water and just left it over there with a bubbler, and it re-rooted. So I potted it up, and I think it's doing well now, because it's finally, as you can see, the roots have hit the side of the pot. That is the sign that all is well. Once the roots hit the side of the pot, I breathe a sigh of relief, and it has finally given me a new leaf. And this leaf is still a baby, but it's going to be beautiful. So I have faith that this is going to be okay. And once this baby leaf is fully out, I'm going to chop this one off. I'm just leaving it there for the extra photosynthesis for now. Now, next to the Anthurium luxurians is the last of my Magnificum forgetii. And honestly, this one probably looks the most normal of the bunch, even though it's also not perfect. It's suddenly getting these yellow spots, like the leaf. I don't know what's going on with this plant, to be honest. It looks like it's about to defoliate. So I might have to chop off these leaves. I don't know why it would do that. I suspect the light I have it under might not be enough. I might have to switch that out for Soltec or something. It's a GE grow light that I've had for ages, and I don't think it's powerful enough. Anyway, this is this guy, and out of nowhere I've just noticed these yellow spots. So I think it's going to... The roots look great, so it's not that. It's either lack of food, maybe I'm not fertilizing it often enough, or lack of light. And it has, I don't know. Does anyone know why these suddenly decide to defoliate? I don't know. Next up, this is my Anthurium crystallinum, and I am so proud of this plant. I'm sure people think I'm weird for being so proud of a crystallinum, but you don't know how hard I've struggled to grow crystallinum. And all of a sudden, I finally have managed to crack it. And even though it's supposed to be one of the easiest ones to grow, I just have always struggled with it. I don't know why. This one is growing under the GE grow light in the corner. It is in half tree fern fiber, half aroid mix, mollies as usual. And yeah, there's not much else to say there. I really don't know what I'm doing differently this time from the other times. I think it might just be like a luck of the strength of the actual plant compared to the ones I've had in the past, because I don't think I'm doing anything remotely special this time. Next to that, back there, this is Ace of Spades crossed with Papiliolanum. Now, this plant, this one is also defoliating, so, and it's under the same GE. I think it might be the grow lights. I think I need to switch out those grow lights for better ones. I think time to put Soltec in both of those places. So this is my winter leaf on this guy. Completely struggle underwatering. This leaf looks lovely, but then is now falling off. This leaf looks less lovely, but you know, is on the struggle bus. And the plant is working on a new something. I'm not sure if it's a leaf. It's either a leaf or an inflorescence. I hope it's a leaf. The roots look quite strong. Yeah, she looks good. This plant is not difficult, but it does need probably better light than it's getting. So just worth considering if you think about getting one. And now to one of my absolute favorite anthuriums in the house. This is my red crystallinum crossed with luxurians. This is a Terzula red crystallinum crossed with Lux, and I love this plant so much, so much. It's been through stress and whatever, but I think it's on solid ground now because it has pretty good roots and it's fully adjusted to life in the living room. And even though this old leaf has some crisping at the bottom, The new one is coming in strong. Coming in strong. Can't wait to see what it's gonna look like what size is it gonna be. What I like the most about this particular luxuriance hybrid is it's got this bluish, oilyish sheen to it that is just so iridescent, so spectacular to look at. Oh, I think this is probably one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. I love this plant. And then right beneath that, I have this. This is my Anthurium clarinervium. Now, this clarinervium, this is another beauty. So if you look at the stem of this, you can see that I've actually had this clarinervium for quite a long time, but a few months ago, I basically had to chop off all the leaves and start again because they all had some kind of weird fungal infection. So yeah, I chopped everything off, took it all the way back down to, square one, and they've regrown, it's growing back in really beautifully. This is the first inflorescence it has produced since I cut everything back. And if you know anything about clarinervium, you know they tend to have a ton of inflows at any given time. So the fact that it has just one should show you that it's still making its way. It's still kind of, bouncing back slowly but surely. But yeah, the leaves are finally sort of sizing up again. This is a new one, still soft. This is a new one. These ones are doing well. I also ended up moving it. It used to be in my bedroom and I moved it to the living room. I think it's happier with the natural light. It was living exclusively under a grow light in the bedroom, which was fine, but I just think it's better in the living room. As you know, clarinervium actually really likes a lot of light, so I think it's happier here. And yeah, I think being out here is good for this guy. Check this out at the end of summer. I'm guessing it's going to be. In the corner by the window, this is Anthurium blue velvet crossed with papillilaninum. Blue velvet's a type of magnificum, and crossed with poppy, just look at this. It has these red veins. Ignore all the crisping. I don't know what was happening with this. I had it back here and it started losing its foliage, so I suspect this plant actually needs a surprising amount of light. Anyway, since I've moved it much closer to the window, it's doing a lot better. It's growing quite well. So there's a new leaf coming. Hopefully that will be really nice too, and we will see. Next is my absolute favorite Anthurium warocqueanum hybrid. This is Anthurium warocqueanum crossed with Besseae af. This is the last leaf it put out. It's got a couple of holes here from underwatering and low humidity, but it'll be all right. I think it's now fully acclimated to my space because the leaf jumped from this to this and that was in the dead of winter, so I'm so keen to see just what the next leaf is going to look like, especially because it's in a reasonable sized pot at the moment, so that's awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing what it's got in store. This is the easiest of the warocqueanum hybrids that I purchased. This one has not needed to go in the grow tent, and even though it came here in the dead of winter, it's growing just fine. It also has quite a wide, makes sense because of Besseae af. It has quite a wide leaf, and because it's a hybrid, I actually think it's going to be enormous. So I think it's going to end up, if I can care for it properly, I think it's going to end up giving Monstera deliciosa a run for its money. I'm really looking forward to seeing just how big it can get. So at the end of summer, when I show these again, hopefully there'll be a nice bigger leaf to show you, because this is just a baby and look what it's already doing. This is my Anthurium warocqueanum crossed with, no, not crossed with anything, Warocqueanum esmeralda.
The floor is wet here.
Yeah. Shall we wash your hair today?
No.
Okay. Now, Earlier, I lightly rubbed this one against the Warocqueanum, which also had pollen on it. I have no idea whether it will take or not, but it might not. But if it does, maybe we'll have some Warrock babies, you know, Esmeralda crossed with regular Warrock. That could be nice. Anyway, this is actually one of my favorite plants here because it's pretty resilient, super easygoing. It's not, what am I saying? It's not easygoing at all, but it's a little bit easier than the regular Warocqueanum. It's a bit more resilient than that. In addition to the inflorescence, it looks like it's working on a new leaf. So I'll be interested to see what type of size we're talking about here. Next this is Clarinervium, Anthurium clarinervium crossed with Pedatum. Now this was another one that was in my bedroom on the shelf and was just drying out, like getting these dry tips, see? So I've brought it out here to the living room where I tend to remember to water a lot more frequently, and it's immediately happier. It put out this new leaf almost instantly, so it's working on that, and the roots are looking nice and green, so I know it's very happy. And I'd be interested to see what it ends up looking like, what type of shape we're talking about, because Pedatum is one of those that has like a finger type shape, right? And so whenever you cross that with Clarinervium, I think it gets quite interesting. So we'll see what ends up happening. And next, I think this guy needs no introduction, but maybe I should introduce him all the same. This is my Anthurium luxurians. The thing about this plant is it just looks so impressive, but it is so easy to care for. It's very, very forgiving. Just medium light, lots of fertilizer, water it when it's like maybe halfway dry. Maybe not quite, but you know, maybe halfway dry. It does not need extra humidity and good airflow, and it just does its thing. It's easier than it looks, and it looks really impressive. Love it. Love it. If I had to start my Anthurium collection again from scratch, I will always have a Lux, like always. This is the second Doc Block Zara X Michelle. It's bigger than the other one. However, I did move it out here and it hasn't from the bedroom, and I don't think it's doing well, but I don't think it's 100% settled. Like, I was spraying for pests and damaged the new growth, unfortunately. So now I'm gonna have to live with an ugly leaf until it decides to put out another one, which is a shame because this would have been really beautiful. It's like fat and round, still growing, but is damaged beyond repair. Not beyond, beyond repair. It's damaged beyond recognition, unfortunately. And so, even though the colors are still beautiful, the leaf is pretty ugly. It's unfortunate. This is my Anthurium Bessii F crossed with Crystallinum. And this is another plant that was on the shelf in my bedroom, and I brought it out here. And it will be okay now that winter is over. But the being out here, the trade-off is that you're basically in the line of fire of Legos and Nerf darts because the kids are playing out here. And when the Anthurium leaves are soft, they get ripped. So it is what it is because, you know, this is their house too. So what are you going to do? This is the newest leaf, already ripped. So there we go. But aside from the rip, it is going to be beautiful. And hopefully I will find a solution for this problem one of these days. Oh, in terms of the care, this is not hard to care for, but it is quite water demanding, and it wants pretty decent light. So it's in a corner with, it's actually quite far away from the window, but it seems to be doing okay there because, you know, there's a lot of light in this room, big south windows. It seems all right there. It just grows a lot slower than it would otherwise, but I don't mind. Now, this Anthurium is the bane of my existence. This is my Magnificum Verde, and it was coming in beautifully, and then this leaf just like completely got ripped up. One, by the kids, two, by the other leaves, but also it just, like, the leaves are so big and then they just flop backwards before it hardens off. And I don't know, it just takes so long to harden off that it doesn't stand a chance in here. So I'm starting to think that I will never have a pristine one because maybe I need to move it to a different location in the apartment, maybe somewhere a bit more sheltered from the other leaves and the kids. But imagine that it didn't have these rips and it actually looked like it's supposed to. But it doesn't, because it does, and it is what it is. So I haven't quite figured out what I'm gonna do, to be honest, because this is ridiculous, right? It's just crazy looking. And then this is my Anthurium populilaninum. Now, this was a baby poppy. It's growing pretty nicely, actually. It came through winter fine. Honestly, did a lot better than I thought it would. This is the latest leaf. It's got a little bit of damage around the edges here from when it got nicked while it was coming up, but the leaves are it's starting to, you know, they're starting to get longer. Yeah, even though it's whitish, it's starting to get longer, but it's still, even with the damage, I think it's still super pretty. So it's really interesting. It is currently working on another leaf and an inflorescence. So yeah, this is my poppy. And we've come to the last of them all, the end of the show. And last but not least, it's the big girl herself, Anthurium warocqueanum. Now, if you've been on this channel a while, you know my warrock has been on a journey. It used to live in my grow tent where life was good, but then last summer, my plant sitter did not water it and it almost didn't make it because you know what these are like. You can't leave them without water. So it's been a battle ever since then just to get it back on track. But I think we're getting there. She's working on, let's see, is she working on a leaf yet? I don't know. She's got this massive inflorescence right here. I think that she's probably about to cook up her next leaf, but I don't see it yet. So to be honest, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I don't even mind. I think I've got enough to be dealing with. So yeah, it looks pretty okay for now. And we will see how it holds up over the summer, I think. That'll be the sort of true test of if it's going to be okay or not, you know. In terms of care, these obviously are going to grow more easily in a high humidity environment, but the truth is, it's really more about the watering. It just wants even moisture. And so once it dries out, it doesn't like to dry out. Once it dries out and doesn't get that water it wants, it really does throw a fit, which is what happened with this one. It was not watered for 3 weeks and it threw a huge wobbly and hasn't quite recovered since then, but I'm working on it, and hopefully by the end of summer it will look impressive again. Those are all my Anthuriums, believe it or not. I know it feels like I'm always talking endlessly about Anthuriums, but those are all the ones I have. I think I have less than 50. About 50-ish. Anyway, are there any other Anthuriums out there that I don't have that you feel like I should have to complete my collection? Let me know in the comments, and if there's anything you want to see more of, happy to oblige. But till next time, I'll see you.